My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity, theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, it's currently 6:51 a.m. This is documentation that you have not forgotten and no federal case is going to forget. And this is the prosecution that is already an inevitable fact regarding vagina monitoring, because that's the significance of the purpose of the people of the state in what is engineered light. The sun's not going to be here like I documented 6 hours from now. This is also where the entity is stalking by helicopter while they're engaged in vagina monitoring vicariously on behalf of the government. Placing your vehicles with regard to monitoring devices in the specific environment, doing so while the entity is monitoring of what is hostility because of all the license plates that are sharing in the sex offense that I'm subject to right now. Everybody living in relevant position, everybody documented on Flora, everybody documented on San Antonio. It's the ceaseless pattern of conduct. They're monitoring with the airport that flies over me. They're monitoring with the helicopter. They're engaging in that conduct while they are sharing in that P.O.C. The offender monitoring a woman's genitalia by maintaining surveillance in the path. And it's also a mentally ill psychopath that is typically engaging in this behavioral pattern. This is the entity that's supposed to be cloaked in anonymity while they're in that specific environment. They are the government. They're not anonymous and they're not strangers. They're also psychopathic while they engage in that conduct, stalking you, monitoring you, obsessing over you, not looking at you, not addressing you, trying to maintain and failing at what is the appearance of a stranger. This is the entity that is revealing itself as mentally ill. This is under no circumstances, as I'm showing you how the government's monitoring system works. This does not make anybody, and this is not the framework or foundation where anybody would be found to be mentally ill. This is the entity that's engaged in gang violence, 8SUE936, and that's still here 6 hours later. So this is documentation Kia. Her name's on the receipt where I am subject to the pattern of conduct, not only as an American citizen, but as a customer at this facilitating venue where Stater Brothers is gang stalking. Stater Brothers is the entity. This is the government that is monitoring me inside of the grocery store. I will prosecute Stater Brothers, but Stater Brothers is in the shoes of the government, not a private property. This is surrounding. This is what they're doing at 10 o'clock under the fake sun. Somebody's in front of me, someone's to the side, someone is always around, and so is that fake sun 6 hours from now. Sex offender, 6SIV338. That's Mission over there. When in the pickup truck, I've documented them before. They're gang stalking. This is P.O.C. This is where the entity under the fake sun flew circles over my head right here in this parking lot, under the fake sun and under the fake moon at the same parking lot. They're not doing anything other than monitoring. These are demons. You're looking at what is the ongoing psychotic behavior of demons who are engaging in surveillance. Okay, P.O.C. 9SAD337. Use of their vehicles, use of their persons, in the engineer light outside, engineer light on the inside. The entity that's engaged in federal group stalking monitoring is a sex offender, and it is the U.S. government. This is P.O.C. 646 West Holt Boulevard, 6:54 a.m. This is the sex offense committed by the entity, and I have documented what is another group of sex offenders that are identified by license plate and facilitating venue. Everywhere I go, the government is engaging in surveillance, and everywhere I go, I am documenting the people of the state, and they will be prosecuted based on the surveillance system that is underway throughout the entirety of the city of Ontario. P.O.C. Yes?
I need to use the restroom.
Yeah, I'm in here.
Oh, okay.
Are you the one that entered the code before and tried to break in?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, if the door is locked, it's going to stay locked. I'm not going to let you in here with me.
Well, I know that. I'm just wondering if you're going to be going or if you're going to stay in there.
I will, but I'm using the restroom. Thank you. You came from home to use the bathroom in public? All right. This is an engineer light. P.O.C. And they're doing it while they know that I'm documenting. So that's the demons. Remember, the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter. This is impossible light activity. And the fake sun is over the parking lot where it remains for over 6 hours. This is the entity that engages in sexual violence as a means of harassing you, and the mentally ill psychopaths who conspire murder and target and psychologically torture with a sexual slant to it. They, in their minds, utilize sexual violence as a means to deter you from exposing them, and it's merely exacerbating what are federal charges and sentencing. These are demons that are gang stalking somebody who's a transient like myself, so you're coming from home to come use the public restroom, and you have to use it so bad that you're admittedly engaging in repeatedly trying to break in. If it was locked 5 minutes ago and you've been standing out there, it's still locked. I'm not going to let you in and see my vagina. They're already keeping it under surveillance. This is the Ontario police engaging in that. This is what they're monitoring. Your use of the toilet, your genitalia, everything is under surveillance. Your physical movement, you're being coded in engineer light. They already know where you are and what you're doing. And the entity is doing that while they know that I'm documenting. So they're aware of every picture, every word that I'm typing in my phone. And then they are standing outside stalking in the path, entering the code as audible activity, relevant positioning in that engineer light. That's mentally ill behavior. Okay, medical professionals are assessing that, what they know versus how they are presenting, what they're saying versus what their actual intentions are. This is the same thing with gang stalking police. While their purpose is to kidnap, murder, and psychologically torture you, You're engaging in sexual violence in a bathroom on top of what is that pattern of conduct. This is P.O.C. It's 8:34 a.m. The entity is maintaining surveillance. Everyone is listening and aware of everything that's going on. That's why the entity has a fake son. That's regarding your ability to know that all of the demons know who I am and what they're doing, and they're monitoring my vagina. This is an unprecedented and proven sex offense committed by the government. This is P.O.C. at Stater Brothers. Stater Brothers is not a family market. It's headquartered in San Bernardino, and I'm going to prosecute them as a sex offender and as a terrorist. This is P.O.C. Cheese. He's stalking with the Ontario International Airport. P.O.C. As he creeps by, the entity amplifies plane activity. This is a business that's gang stalking. Let me show you the fake son, and everything he's saying is the government that's stalking you, conspiring your murder. Are you taking a picture? You see the cloud path? That's the government stalking. SXS 837, impossible light on the wall. While you're asking me if I'm taking a picture, which I'm going to, this is the government that's threatening you through the people of the state. These are obsessed gargoyles, light-slinging, demon-possessed vagina monitors. They're gang stalking demons. And this business is engaged in that P.O.C. You see that engineer light on? That's called malice. And that's what's breaking into the bathroom, knowing that I'm there, stalking. That's what that third party is engaging in. And the fake son's 6 hours over that parking lot on that side of the street. The entity moving the fake son and stalking as an airport while I am remaining over there for over 6 hours. They're all in. That sex offender was monitoring my vagina, 9KLK309, P.O.C. And the entity is going to be federally prosecuted for an incomprehensible, a reprehensible, and unprecedented, unfathomable sex offense. The corporate invasion of privacy as an entity is engaging what is conspiring your murder, stalking you obsessively, including in private spaces such as a restroom. And that continues to be the case even while the entities such as San Bernardino County, which is the state, engages in kidnapping. They're engaging in that same sex offense. You're going to maintain that ongoing position of maintaining your dignity of privacy while the entity is kidnapping you. This is the P.O.C. It's the perpetual sex offense, 9WWS055. Look at the impossible light moving across the wall. These are demons. That is not ignorant about where you're present in the bathroom. This is speaking to the illusion regarding privacy, the illusion regarding strangers not knowing your identity, and also the illusion that they don't know where you're at and what you're doing, and they are demons. License 8VHA246. That impossible light is speaking to knowledge while you're targeting. This fake sun is speaking to knowledge while you're targeting. This cloud path knowledge by the government that is stalking, proven by that environment that's following, doing so vicariously with the people of the state. That's P.O.C. I'm going to prosecute the business. That third party's conduct is what every business is doing, including Stater Brothers. Impossible light activity, P.O.C. I've been documenting this for years. That's why I'm going through the neighborhoods, and you have the ability, and I am doing it. I'm going through the neighborhoods, getting all their license plates, showing their addresses. They will be published with regard to exposing the domestic terrorists in California, but I will be federally prosecuting you by identity. I documented you, and I'm going to prosecute you. And you will be documented and exposed with regard to being a sex offender. Under no circumstances, at no time is the sun going to cause this movement of light. The centrality of the pattern of conduct is based on this light conduct, which is occurring while they walk under it, drive under it, speak under it, use their devices in it. She's monitoring. P.O.C. They're stalking. When you are monitoring, you are stalking. 9PHK521. You are monitoring, you are stalking as a third party, not a private party, and doing so in that environment. This is P.O.C. It's currently 8:49 a.m. This is 561 West Holt Boulevard. This is the P.O.C. These businesses, that's a federal RICO case. The entity stalking me by the government, the entity stalking me with impossible light, the entity speaking, what are you doing while you're stalking me? What is wrong with you? You're going to prison for that very audible activity. That's an unlawful threat while the government is conspiring, trying to kill you. That's an unlawful threat. P.O.C. Now, imagine what's happening to them when they've committed acts of physical violence on behalf of that government, because every single last one of them are going to prison. P.O.C. It is currently, and they're doing it on behalf of the gang leader, Mike LORENZ, who's also a terrorist leader. That's how we would refer to it with any other country, any other foreign terrorist. He's a homegrown domestic terrorist leader, and he's going to prison. This is P.O.C. Paul Leon. This is the office of Paul Leon. Just want to be clear. Stalking by the Ontario police with the people who come right here. They're stalking with impossible light while they surround me, driving in front of me. Impossible light. They are indeed stalking. This is impossible light right here. And this demon is monitoring with the Ontario Police Department, okay? So are the people of the state, but we're going to focus right here. Paul Leon is targeting me with the resources of the city while engaging in the pattern of conduct. And they're doing so while he's pacing back and forth on the property under the fake sun, as I am documenting the fact that the City of Ontario has been engaged in what is providing, for example, housing services, and the very employees of the housing services, like Kevin, are monitoring my vagina. Engaging in what is used to the communicate. Let me show you what he's doing. He's in operation of a communication device. He's under the fake sun while the Ontario police are doing what? Flying in circles over me. And this is a psychopath listening to me document, studying their devices. Their devices are demonic and they're demons engaging in demonic activity right in front of your face. They're doing so in that environment. 9BCZ 737 is targeting with the City of Ontario, who are targeting with the terrorists, the Ontario Police Department, under the fake sun while they're engaging in surveillance. I'm documenting Wells Fargo. Those demons are stalked with impossible light, one demon after another, psychopathic pacing, just like the old biddy at the Stater Brothers parking lot where the fake sun's reflecting, and that's supposed to be the reason why Engineer Light is coding my person. No, those are demons. And that is the prosecution of a mayor. Understand how this is going to work. He's funding terrorism, facilitating terrorism, and you are not ignorant about what the gang stalking police department is doing. You're not ignorant about the ongoing evidence published on the internet. If you were ignorant and you're learning about what the city is doing behind your back, you're incompetent, you're derelict. But this is more so what is the engagement by that mayor who is targeting me while that fake sun's over me at that city hall. This is where the entity is keeping this fake sun, and the people of the state are sharing in that criminal pattern of conduct, going right into the facilitating venue as Wells Fargo, while the entity is engaging what is targeting me, which is proven under the fake sun. This is the same fake sun that's over me, while the people of the state are stalking at Stater Brothers. It remained at Stater Brothers for 6 hours. Paul Leon is targeting me specifically, providing resources. That's the City of Ontario vehicle, providing resources to the city, and that includes Mike LORENZ of the Ontario Police Department, who have decided to go out and be identified as terrorists. You need to understand that this is relevant to the people that they have already murdered, to the people that are sitting in a kidnapped status. Even if it is the despicable people of the state, they don't have authority under the law because they've engaged in what I've shown you, targeting, lying about the character of American citizens in order to get away with targeting them, including by having them locked up. Bearing false witness, this is what Jason Fields and Tracy Banks, Eric Spencer, Tommy Allen, this is what they all do. Stating that you're molesting a child in order to accomplish a kidnapping while they are stalking like the Ontario Police Department are doing. Defaming your character while there's a criminal record regarding what are criminal acts committed against you. However, the entity that is targeting you are engaging in what is facilitating that ongoing public means of defaming your character while you are appearing on the internet as one that is repeatedly violating the law. At least that's why a police department would be arresting you, right? A police department that's engaging in criminal. Alrighty, it is currently 10:29 a.m. And as you can see, what I pulled up on YouTube is the exact same time yesterday. That would be 24 hours ago, where I'm at 628 West Holt Boulevard, which is distinct from 215 East C Street, where Sean Thrasher is gang stalking by blocking my path. You are stalking under the fake sun, and this is a malicious vagina monitor who is also holding a position at the venue where he's committed the federal offense of criminal monitoring while he's gang stalking with the Ontario Police, who you heard just gang stalking me moments ago upon my entrance into this venue. I just want to show you the fake sun that's over this entrance. Sean Thrasher is going to federal prison. All right, but this is the entity that's engaging in that P.O.C, and this is relevant to the video documentation of that agency stalking me at the Ontario Town Square under the fake sun, as I am at the Ontario Town Square, 224 North Euclid Avenue, and 24 hours ago, the entity kept for 6 hours that I documented the fake sun over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. Okay, so that's why I'm starting this video here. Let's refresh my memory.
Regarding Title 18 federal stalking. Is stalking in the reason, the way that you know that this is a plane that is engaged in stalking one person in particular is the placement of the fake sun where it's been way 6. And you're looking at going back and forth. These are pacing by a demon-possessed entity that are stalking together. And what they are also doing while you're looking at this, 9EIW 892 is sharing in a sex
So this
to
is
my
where
face,
the
my
entity
thighs,
began.
and hitting my face with in this parking lot and in the sky space, and this is what the airport is doing, one plane
That's the
after
Ontario
another,
Police in
after
the
another,
background.
after another, while the fake sun
Flying in
sits right here
circles
over
around
me. They're mentally ill, and the demon possessed are not able to keep that mental illness closeted, nor can they keep their criminal activity closeted. That's impossible light that's on the ground while they are stalking with the Ontario.
Let's just rewind and
And it
see
is
what
currently
the
10:32
Ontario
a.m.
police are doing.
This is also relevant to what is the proof of mental illness by Mike Lorenz and Bonita in this parking lot and in the sky space. And this is what the airport is doing, one plane after another, after another, after another, while the fake sun sits right here over me. They're mentally ill.
That's the Ontario police that engaged in what is psychopathic pacing. This is the crime scene. The fake sun is the ability to see not only the criminal stalking, but the mental illness by a demon-possessed entity. In that environment, in other words, with that behavior is showing you what is the proof of the satanic targeting system. Now, what you're looking at here is where the people of the state are stalking. License 6, David Larry, Sam 658. They are stalking. The entity has the fake sun over me, and I am at what is 215 East C Street, and you're mindful of everyone, including Sean Thrasher, that are stalking, while the entity is keeping this fake sun over me at the Stater Brothers parking lot, the Ontario Village Shopping Center, where you're mindful of the entity that's engaging in stalking. Doing so with the developmentally challenged, OPARC, anthesis, doing so with minor children, doing so while they are maliciously engaged in that pattern of conduct. You can look whatever direction you want. This is the hard evidence. These are the same demons that are engaging in that while they're stalking with impossible light. Just like you see where the entity is maintaining this fake sun at the same time, not ignorant while the police are flying circles around me while I document their license plates, while I walk through their neighborhoods and they're monitoring where they live. That's called a facilitating venue, not a private space. And in this venue, where the entity is stalking, doing so in the specific environment. The specific environment is that which defies science, it defies nature, it defies common sense and logic. You're looking at what is psychopathic pacing. One person stalking after another person. Imagine laser light being on the ground after, well, you don't have to imagine because it's engineered light, you've seen it. But the purpose of what they're doing is creating like a path around me in the environment. They're all stalking and it's one after another. They are an ongoing army of demons who are engaged in what is stalking as a group, gang stalking, state organized stalking, stalking on behalf of the government. And they're doing so while the sun's over the Ontario Village Shopping Center, 44214 Larry 3, and alloys sheet metal. The identification of two third parties. The entity has this fake sun over me at the same time where I'm showing you at the 628 West Holt, where the Ontario Village Shopping Center is located. This is where the Ontario police are having a field day, and they did it in plain view like I've been documenting for years, stalking me and conspicuously in concert with the people of the state. This is psychopathic pacing, not in vehicles, but on foot, in and out of the building, where this entity, as you know, just like I documented at the Ontario Village Shopping Center, keeps this fake sun until after 4 p.m. In fact, let's look at that while we are comparing what the entity is engaging in with regard to a pattern of conduct. So first, I want to be clear, this is exactly what is going to be the federal offense regarding the people of the state who are going to federal prison engaging in psychopathic pacing. This is the same psychopathic pacing that they are engaging in right now. In and out of the entrance doors, they're stalking under the fake sun just like they are in vehicles in this parking lot, that fake sun that remained over the Ontario Village Shopping Center, which is showing how everyone is engaging in that pattern of conduct, and this is poor acting by an entity, a society, okay? And this is how they commit murder as well, at this ritualistic psychopathic pacing conduct around the target whom they are sexually violating as well, monitoring my vagina, joint knowledge while they're breaking in the bathroom like this morning at Stater Brothers, while they're engaging in what is molesting with engineered light, while they're engaging in that ritualistic conduct of stalking and terrorizing and psychologically torturing, like in the video, which is what you're looking at here, where the entity's psychopathic pacing is captured on video with the Ontario police.
And that's what the demon-possessed females are in California. Psychopathic pacing with the Ontario police. K479T1. Psychopathic pacing with the Ontario police. It's the same thing with Southwest Airlines. It's with the Ontario police. 8NCX241. This is the entity that's engaging in that. I could not have more of it.
This is the entity that's engaging in what is domestic terrorism, and they do it in concert with the people of the state who are pacing in and out of the entrance doors in violation of federal law, federal stalking statute, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. They're doing so as a mentally ill, demon-possessed entity that's maintaining a criminal pattern of conduct. And this is proven through what is the documentation showing what is absolutely demented. The criminal pattern of conduct is so satanic, it's so mentally deranged that I have to document in order to prove that the entity is indeed stalking under what I have appropriately termed, which is a scientific term, a fake sun. The entity is maintaining this while the entity is exhibiting mental illness, pacing around me in the vehicles, pacing around me on foot, pacing around me by helicopter, doing so at the same time, which is exactly what I'm documenting at 2 venues at the same time. Yesterday, the entity kept the fake sun until after 12 p.m. What I want you to
federal
see...
court. This is the pattern of, and the Ontario police are the ones that are touching my breast with impossible light by the gang members who are targeting me in furtherance of murder. These facilitating venues are being prosecuted. This is the federal RICO case, and this is also the basis of damages.
That's relevant to what Sean Thrasher is committing while he is blocking my path. That is stalking, while the entity is keeping a fake sun over me as I enter the venue, which he knows he's gratified by the Ontario police gang stalking me while I'm prosecuting the mayor through this evidence as well. And he is standing with Kelly Blacken and the demons that are gang stalking Natasha, monitoring my vagina while the males go into the adjacent restroom, maintaining what is ongoing amplified audible activity. And how can they do that? Because it's not the natural environment. It's because they are demons. And that proof of that is here. And you will be subject to a federal prosecution. Never mind the fact that they're demons engaging in what is the practice of witchcraft, demonic activity. They're demon possessed. This is what they call witchcraft, but I'm showing you they're not it's not witchcraft. They're just demons. Demons engaging in what is supernatural conduct. They are serving Satan, and Satan is being prosecuted. EY221 psychopathic pacing, just like what's on video at the Stater Brothers shopping plaza, okay, which is not here. That's a federal prosecution right there. Understand the significance of every one that I've documented, which is greater evidence regarding the entire state of California. Moreover, like I stated, let's look at what's here at 4 p.m. So I'm going to show you the evidence of surveillance. Minor children, that's a federal prosecution. And this is where damning evidence is going to be revealed. This is the admission to surveillance with the people. And we're going to look at what's happening at 4 o'clock in the evening. P.O.C. This is the prosecution of the Ontario Village Shopping Center, 74844 David 4. This is exactly what they're doing at the Village while I'm capturing damning evidence. And what did the entity do? On video, starts flying in circles over the top of my head. This is the evidence, the criminal activity which is establishing federal prosecution, federal prison for surveillance of the evidence that's underway on my device with no warrant, no probable cause. The fake sun is over the shopping plaza. The entity is engaging in this yesterday with the same knowledge of my documentation of the King's Inc., of the email Go Brile dentist office, of the Stater Brothers, of the Habit Grill, while the people of the state and every license plate are sharing in that police department engages in what is stalking in the path, psychopathic pacing, just like here. And what you're looking at is what you see here as I'm capturing video at 10:29. This is the same thing you're going to see here, where Amazon Prime is sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct. Amazon Prime, which is again the terrorist leader Bezos. When you are appropriating domestic terrorism in the United States and you are analogizing it with what is terrorism that's happening amongst foreign terrorists targeting American citizens. The U.S. government is targeting American citizens, and these fools are providing evidence for the foundational creation of legislation in order to prosecute murderers and kidnappers like the Ontario Police Department. I just want to be clear, before we look at this video at 4 p.m., Paul Leon is being federally prosecuted for conspiring my murder, for funding terrorism, which is occurring with impunity. He is not ignorant. He's in this specific environment. You're also not reasonably ignorant, and this demon is not actually ignorant either. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaging in that ongoing criminal acts of obstruction, and so is U.P.S. That's what this is. It's light activity under the fake sun. It's not a delivery. It's criminal facilitation, and that's federal prison, while the entity's psychopathic pacing is underway while a demon tries to cloak themselves as delivering a package to the environment where the fake sun remains until 4 p.m. Look at this.
9 RPK 278, stalking with Amazon Prime Air. And remember the obvious impropriety, the illegality regarding hovering over a senior citizen complex. This is zoning provisions that the entities.
This is where UPS, you can replace it with Amazon Prime, engaging in the pattern of conduct by delivering a package. This is the entity that's engaging in what is gang stalking using their vehicles. This is the Ontario Police maintaining vicarious presence. Okay, I just want to be clear. There is no compassion for the elderly demons that are conspiring murder, nor for the physically handicapped that are equally engaged in vagina monitoring. In fact, going downstairs, making that effort, the deliberate effort to engage in vagina monitoring is what I documented this sex offender engaging in. The Ontario Police flying over this building outside under the fake sun that's remaining over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. These are psychopaths. This is P.O.C. This is state surveillance by the government. And they're engaged in surveillance on the desktop computers. They're engaged in surveillance while they are maintaining presence in the engineered environment. They're doing so with the same gang stalking City of Ontario, and the entities engaged in that. They're pacing an engineer light. Look at their shadows, and all they're doing, their movements, their noise creation is based on what I am doing. These are the demon possessed. And literally the police department just flew over the library. Sean Thrasher is a part of this ongoing terrorism and vagina monitoring, harassment and terrorism and psychological torture. He is going to prison. Every employee is sharing in that, engaging in that with ongoing knowledge of the documentation. While the entity is engaging in the psychopathic and sexually violent and demented pattern of conduct, it is also the very evidence that's going to be used by medical professionals to diagnose mental illness, which is inherent to the pattern of conduct for gang stalking. This is corruption. This is P.O.C. They're all under the fake sun that's remaining over the shopping plaza at what is the Ontario Village Shopping Center on Hope Boulevard right now while it's over me. And as the entity is looking at me reviewing damning evidence, such as this fake sun being at the same position at 4 p.m., that's when the entity is flying over by helicopter, proving that they're all engaged in surveillance. Okay? This is the pattern of conduct. They're engaged in surveillance inside and outside under the fake sun, which you already know is over this portion of the building because it moves as I move. This is P.O.C. It is currently 10:49 a.m. All right, I just want to show you, this is the fake sun at the back portion of the library that's facing the University of Lorraine. College of Law, the Ontario City Hall, hold on, let me zoom out. The Ontario City Hall, this is the fake sun right here. Trying to zoom in so you can see the impossibility of it even peak. The entity is covering up this fake sun by hiding it. It's peeking over though. I'm laughing not because gang stalking is a joke, nor is mental illness a joke, nor is demon possession a joke. But what is a joke is that the government that's obviously stalking, and admittedly so, is the first one that sought to defame my character, number one, and they're so incriminated and so desperate that they engage in this sort of psychotic behavior. The fake sun is sitting over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. I'm doing this so that you are able to understand the severity of what it is that I'm saying. I'm not going around bad-mouthing elderly people. That old biddy is a demon-possessed person that's conspiring the murder of somebody during the 11 a.m. hour, engaged in sexual assault and battery, while this entity has the fake sun the next day over the OVITT Family Community Library. You're looking at my documentation, reference the screen recording of the entity engaging in sexual violence, harassment, psychological torture with engineered light while they are stalking under a fake sun that remained 6 hours over that shopping plaza. And I'm pointing out what is a demon that's cloaking itself in an old woman's body. Okay, that's the P.O.C. You will not be treated differently under the law. This is 10:54 a.m. This is P.O.C. None of this is light that's going to be present if that's the sun over the Ontario shopping plaza. Okay, but nonetheless, the entity is seeking to conceal it, peeking it over the edge. It peeking over the edge, it being covered up with clouds. Even the engineer light that's still present in the same manner at nightfall. You are looking at what is stalking. That entity that just flew over the top of my head, everybody in this library is gang stalking, including Sean Thrasher, who was going to federal prison. Okay, that's P.O.C. So he can monitor that because he was pacing around. You already know that the fake sun is here because that is not coming from an airport. That's Southwest Airlines. P.O.C. And you know whose office it's over? The one that's being federally prosecuted, the Ontario City Hall. You're not ignorant. This is the evidence showing that the mayor is a co-conspirator. He is not ignorant. This is the pattern of conduct. He is a terrorist fundraiser. He's engaged in what is providing the means whereby that ongoing criminal endeavor to target me, to murder me, to defame my character in doing so, is that which the mayor is a part of. That's the pattern of conduct. It's 10:55 a.m. P.O.C. All right, I just want to be clear. This is Rosa that is gang stalking with the people of the state. This is pacing with the librarians opening and closing the door. And this is the entity that's engaging in the P.O.C. while engaging in what is harassment. This is with Abigail. All right, that's the pattern of raising their voice at me and making accusations about stating something which is nothing other than audible activity while conspiring my murder, and then claiming that you're reporting that I am taking pictures, which you are doing by assuming what I'm doing on my device. And moreover, the other argument is that this is the state that's stalking by helicopter, including at this library, while you're engaging in that act of violence, which I'm documenting. The Ontario police flew over this library this morning while they're engaging in surveillance, and that's why they make those unfounded allegations about what I'm doing on my device. This is a third party that reeks of urine. So does her son, engaging in stalking me at the grocery store, stalking me when I'm walking around outside in the specific environment, and this is the P.O.C. This is also relevant to why the entity that is engaging in the pattern of conduct are going to federal prison. Okay, that's the entity that's engaging in vagina monitoring and then finding a way to engage in what is harassment. This is mental illness that is in operation. Seriously, this is the engineered environment that they're stalking in. Okay, this is impossible light activity. And you're pacing all around. P.O.C. It's currently 2:54 p.m. All right, this is all engineered light. This is all impossible light activity. The entity is maintaining the fake sign. Remember, L. Edwards is engaging in criminal summoning right here at where they're parking at the Wells Fargo. This is the same location of the fake sun during the 10 a.m. hour. That illusion is where the entity is gang stalking, and they're doing so with the Ontario police. This is a stalker. Now, you're understanding Rosa is the same entity as 25033G2, who's engaging in what is harassment, engaging in what is asking you questions, whether you are recording them. That's the verbiage that they use when they're engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct. The entity has the fakes in this morning where the Ontario police are stalking by helicopter. The entity's engaging in that conduct, that audible activity, which is serving monitoring and furtherance of murder. This is documentation regarding Rosa and her son, also Benjamin and Armando. They're engaging in what is an iteration of the pattern of conduct. And they're inside of the buildings engaged in psychopathic pacing. And their mental illness and the pacing conduct, which is stalking and monitoring by the government, is occurring in that illusion where the fake sun is present, okay? This is the same location when I'm walking in the morning from the Stater Brothers to the same venue. So the entity has it in the same position. The entity's engaged in that while keeping the fake sun and then engineer light creeping farther and farther into the depths of the library. So this is prefacing the documentation here. The entity engaging in what is the second battery of my person. This is puncturing, stabbing the bottom of my feet with needles. These mysterious injuries are relevant to the unlawful threat posed to my life while I am exposing corrupt police officers, corrupt police departments, which is an inherent threat to my safety and my life. That same entity, the City of Ontario, is stalking me, including this morning at the venue where the fake sun still remains. And the third parties that are gang stalking me are inside of the venue, engaging what is raising their voice at me, harassing me. And this is the entity. Remember, it's not actual fear. 9HAK174 is one that I could stomp a mud pie into her face, right? It's not actual fear. It's reasonable fear. And moreover, that's not a third party. That's a third party, not an individual. That's the government stalking you by helicopter that's crossing path in that red Tesla. A coward that feels like when they are 4 feet tall, when they reek of feces, that they have some basis to engage in harassing you and making allegations. That ongoing audacity, that ongoing boldness is because they are gang stalking with the state. The reality is that that's the government that's harassing. It's the government that's threatening your life with regard to any and all audible activity, whether they're asking you if you want a cupcake or whether they are threatening to physically harm you through their physical, that is the express and implied communications of a threat, which is this. WireNet is gang stalking with impossible light. That's a Latino male, and it's a license plate 33787 Robert 3, and they're gang stalking just like the Ontario Police Department are this morning by helicopter, based on the evidence that I was getting ready to show you, that the fake sun that's here at 10 in the morning, 10:29 to be exact, is not simultaneously over the Stater Brothers parking lot. And also, it's still remaining here after 4 p.m. As I refer to damning evidence, this is where psychopaths are gang stalking. I want to make sure that you're understanding what you're witnessing. These are the mentally ill engaged in obsessive stalking while I am documenting it. This is the threat that's posed by the Ontario Police Department, which is nothing other than the state in Ontario, California. Any city that I'm going to is acting in the shoes of the state. This is the entity that is inside, reeking of urine. This is Rosa and her son that are engaging in what is harassment. These are psychopaths keeping my vagina under surveillance, with the entity stalking me in helicopters and in commercial airline planes, communicating a threat while they are together engaging what is also, again, every single last entity, everybody that is documented, every business, I don't care what venue. Salvador Gomez, he's going to be federally prosecuted for battering, placing needles in my body while this government is engaging in the pattern of conduct. Every single last one of them are being federally prosecuted. It's an unlawful threat to my life. It's a battery to my person, and the entity is engaging in mysterious injuries. Okay, this is P.O.C. I want to make sure that that's clear. This is a pattern of conduct, cycle pacing by minor children in the engineer light on top of light. It's coded engineer light. It's P.O.C. And this is where Sean Thrasher was gang stalking this morning at 10:29 a.m. into the fake sun. Yeah, that's the P.O.C. He's going to prison. It's currently 4:02 p.m. All right, this is documentation of the ongoing harassment, the annoyance, the ongoing pest conduct of the entity's loud plane activities, stalking. There aren't any planes that would come from the airport over here. And this is the entity that's harassing while they're stalking with the people of the state. Gargoyles are very annoying, and they also smell like urine, like Rosa and her demon-possessed kids inside of the library gang stalking me. It's even worse when the entity is doing so with commercial planes. And the entity is doing so while the fake moon is over me at the same back portion of the OVITT Family Community Library. The same fake moon followed me yesterday night to the Ontario Town Square, where that airport is engaging like they're taking off here. And then they're flying west of this location to engage in what is rising back, lower back down, to engage in this, repeating this conduct again while that fake moon is over me. This is Securitas committing a sexual assault. That's why he's going to prison. That's Leo. He's a sex offender. He's a demon-possessed one, because that's impossible light activity. That little golf cart doesn't have powerful light like that. And when you're engaging in what is use of headlights, it doesn't create that light activity. That's a sex offender monitoring me with the airport, who is engaging in what is a public nuisance, but that public nuisance is the basis for what is stalking and furtherance of murder. It is the reason why the people of the state are stalking me in psychotic means, such as inside of a library all day long. Driving outside under the guise of being a security guard when you are stalking. This is the entity that's engaged in that. I want to document this because this is what I'm going to continue to know. The entity that's engaged in harassment, these are demons that are obsessed, and all they do is spin their wheels. They are in fact mentally ill, and this will be the dual use of this evidence to diagnose mental illness, because the entity that's gang stalking is going to be committed. This is P.O.C. It's currently 9:18 p.m.